Zodiac, a symbol that now stands for terror in San Francisco.
In the late 1960s, a horrific story evolved in Northern California that would become synonymous with fear and mystery: the story of the Zodiac Killer. This mysterious person was linked to at least 5 deaths during that time period. But the Zodiac Killer could have committed far more. It's like something out of a movie. Till this date, no one knows who this individual was. It's like a giant riddle that no one has solved yet, making it the most renowned unsolved murder case in American history. Everyone has since been wondering who this individual was and what truly transpired back then. Before we delve further into this true crime story, we kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts in the comments. It all started on December 20th, 1968, when 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and 17-year-old David Faraday went on their first date. Their plan? A stop at a local restaurant before heading to Lake Herman Road, which was a well-known spot for lovers. Little did they know that this night would mark the beginning of a string of gruesome events. As the young couple parked on Lake Herman Road, a stranger pulled up beside them, ordering them out of the car. When Betty and David resisted, the man, armed with a .22 caliber pistol, fired a shot into the rear left wheel housing, creating chaos. Panicked, the teens exited the car from the passenger side. The killer, cold and calculating, shot David in the skull at point-blank range. Betty, attempting to escape, was pursued and shot 5 times in the back. The mysterious assailant then vanished into the night, leaving behind a scene of horror. The Zodiac Killer did not stop at the crime scene. He wanted the rest of the world to know. By sending letters to publications between 1969 and 1974, he taunted the authorities and instilled terror in the general population. He boasted about his crimes and made frightening threats in these letters. Even more disturbing, he claimed responsibility for up to 37 deaths. The police, befuddled and under enormous pressure, wanted to bring down the elusive killer. The San Francisco Examiner, San Francisco Chronicle, and Vallejo Times-Herald all received similar handwritten letters from the Zodiac Killer on August 1, 1969. In these letters, he revealed data only the genuine perpetrator would know, asking that his message be printed on the front page of the newspapers. The threat? More violence if his demands weren't met. The community was on edge, and the Zodiac Killer seemed to revel in the chaos he created. The Zodiac reappeared on July 4, 1969, after a brief absence, in a more weird and intimidating form. Darlene Ferrin, 18, and Michael Mageau, 16, were both shot numerous times by an armed and dangerous individual up at Blue Rock Springs Park. In the wake of the murders, the Zodiac Killer sent cryptic ciphers to newspapers, challenging authorities and the public to decode his twisted messages. Donald and Betty Harden of Salinas, California, intrigued by puzzles, successfully decoded one of the 408 symbol cryptograms. The disturbing message revealed the killer's sinister motives and his thrill in taking lives. The letters continued, keeping the community in a constant state of fear. Responding to Chief Stiltz's request for more information, the Zodiac sent another letter, confirming his identity as the killer. He mocked the police's attempts to crack his codes and hinted at the enjoyment he derived from the chaos he caused. The decoded cipher was published, but the letters continued to pour in, keeping the authorities on high alert. At Lake Berryessa, the gloomy narrative of the Zodiac Killer took a terrifying turn once again on September 27, 1969. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were having a quiet picnic when they noticed a stranger approaching. Cecilia called it out, but Brian dismissed it at first before realizing the enormity of the situation. The man grabbed a revolver and demanded money and car keys while wearing a black executioner-style hood emblazoned with the Zodiac symbol. The couple gave over 50 cents and their car keys, only for the man to pocket the change and return the keys. The armed man introduced himself as an escaped inmate from Deer Lodge, Montana, and claimed to have murdered a prison guard. Brian took the man's comments seriously because he sensed danger. The Zodiac insisted on tying them up despite Brian's paltry offer. Cecilia, however, became the subject of the Zodiac's wrath. Following a scary announcement, the man stabbed Cecilia 10 times and Brian 6 times. The Zodiac then proceeded to the couple's automobile, putting a haunting message on the door, providing the details of the attack. A fortunate encounter with a fisherman and his son led to the discovery of the wounded couple. Rushed to the hospital, Cecilia succumbed to her injuries, while Brian survived to recount the gruesome details. The Zodiac, true to his pattern, called the Napa County Sheriff's Office to report the crime, perpetuating the air of mystery and terror. Law enforcement, which was now dealing with a string of unsolved homicides, began to connect the links. As the Zodiac repeatedly targeted young couples on weekends approaching holidays, patterns developed. The murders took place at night or at dusk, frequently in well-known lovers' paths near bodies of water. The Zodiac's audacity extended to letters and phone conversations, displaying a dark delight in mocking authorities. However, the Zodiac's next move contradicted his known patterns. On October 11, 1969, in Presidio Heights, he hailed a cab driven by Paul Stein. This murder, a departure from the normal Lover's Lane location, marked a shift in the Zodiac's tactics. The killer left a frightening scene after shooting Stein in cold blood. Mistaken eyewitness descriptions and a tight escape allowed the Zodiac to elude capture once more. The Zodiac, true to form, delighted in teasing the cops, sending letters and even a piece of Stein's blood-soaked clothing to the Chronicle. Threatening a school bus attack, the Zodiac frightened the community, requiring safeguards and increased monitoring. Zodiac's daring reached new heights when he called the Oakland Police Department and requested to talk with famed lawyer Melvin Belli on live television. Despite their terrifying character, the subsequent calls to Channel 7 turned out to be a twisted joke. The voice, on the other hand, did not match previous descriptions, raising suspicions. An investigation found that the Zodiac's phone conversations were staged by a psychiatric patient named Eric Wheel at Napa State Hospital. The illusion of direct communication with the elusive killer was broken by this revelation. On November 8, 1969, the Zodiac killer sent a card with a cryptogram of 340 characters, known as the Z340 cipher. This puzzle baffled investigators for over 5 decades until an international team led by David Orenchak, Sam Blake, and Jarl van Eyck cracked it on December 5, 2020. The decrypted message revealed the Zodiac's denial of being the Sam from AM San Francisco, asserting his lack of fear for the gas chamber. The decoded message dismissed any connection to the AM San Francisco caller named Sam. The Zodiac expressed fearlessness about the gas chamber, emphasizing it would hasten his journey to paradise. Upon submission to the FBI, the agency confirmed the deciphered message's authenticity. However, the revelation brought no new leads in unmasking the elusive Zodiac killer. The day after the cryptic card, on November 9, 1969, the Zodiac mailed a 7-page letter detailing a chilling encounter with 2 policemen minutes after the murder of cab driver Paul Stein. This letter, published on November 12, intensified the Zodiac's taunts. On December 20, 1969, marking a year since the murders of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, the Zodiac sent a letter to attorney Melvin Belli. Enclosed was another piece of Paul Stein's shirt. In a bizarre twist, the Zodiac sought Belli's assistance, adding another layer of intrigue to this unsolved mystery. The Zodiac's wickedness extended to the kidnapping of Kathleen Johns, adding to the misery of his acts. Threats, bomb-making instructions, and claims of responsibility for different crimes, including Kathleen's kidnapping, were included in letters submitted to publications. Despite efforts to decode ciphers and identify the perpetrator, law enforcement encountered obstacles. The Zodiac continued to torment and claim more victims, increasing public anxiety. The investigation heated up as new suspects emerged, with Arthur Lee Allen and Richard Gaikowski standing out, but convincing evidence remained elusive. Apart from the confirmed murders attributed to the Zodiac killer, at least 5 other killings have been tentatively connected to the notorious figure. These include the 1963 shooting of Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards near Santa Barbara, as well as the 1966 stabbing death of college student Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside. The elusive nature of the Zodiac's crimes extended beyond the well-known cases, deepening the mystery. Following the murder of cab driver Paul Stein in 1969, witnesses provided descriptions of a man leaving the crime scene. This information enabled the police to create and circulate a composite sketch of the suspected killer. Despite accumulating evidence and the investigation of numerous suspects, the Zodiac killer continued to evade capture, leaving law enforcement frustrated. Following the Lake Tahoe card, the Zodiac killer maintained a silence that stretched nearly 3 years, intensifying the mystery surrounding their identity and activities. The Zodiac resurfaced with a letter sent to the Chronicle, postmarked January 29, 1974. In this correspondence, the killer unexpectedly praised The Exorcist as the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen. The letter included a snippet of verse from The Mikado, adding an intriguing literary layer to the Zodiac's communication. At the bottom of the letter, investigators encountered an unusual symbol that, to this day, remains unexplained, contributing to the enigmatic nature of the Zodiac's messages. Me 37, SFPD 0. Concluding the letter with a new score, the Zodiac asserted, Me 37, SFPD 0, emphasizing their perceived dominance in the ongoing cat-and-mouse game with law enforcement. Despite the confirmed count of 5 victims, the killer himself claimed responsibility for 37 deaths, leaving the true extent of the crimes uncertain. More than 5 decades after the initial Faraday-Jensen murders, the identity of the Zodiac killer remains a puzzle. The inability to make an arrest in this high-profile case has been a persistent challenge for law enforcement. The FBI, as of October 2021, officially denied that the case had been solved, emphasizing the ongoing mystery. The Zodiac's reign of terror has left an everlasting mark on true crime history. The killer's identity is still unknown, and the precise number of victims is unclear, leaving us to speculate on who the true perpetrator might be. So, given the mysterious nature of the Zodiac's letters and ciphers, do you believe the killer's identity will ever be discovered conclusively? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.